goes for an Inquisition. You know, Misdirection is huge there because I believe he'll get to see his hand, right?
Yep.
So, you know, he'll then get perfect information to know whether or not he can go for the show and tell kill.
And so we're going to see him lead off with just a Scalding Tarn and pass. I think both players have kept 7. Our finals are underway, ladies and gentlemen, here at Star City Games Open Series in Dallas. If you are just joining us, Cedric Phillips, Osip Lebedovich, we appreciate you guys watching. If you want to interact, you can for this very last round at SCG Live, hashtag SCGDAL. We got one round to go. We're going to crown champions soon. And we're going to start with the death. We're going to start with an Inquisition. And he moved real quick. Feels
Does
like
he have the misdirection? No.
Feels like a brainstorm to me.
Looks like a brainstorm. I would really love to see a misdirection here. Ideally, I'd love to see misdirection. Let's see your hand. You don't have a Caracas or Oblivion. Okay, I'm going to go turn 2 show and tell.
Yeah, moving right on in.
Let's move right on in. But let's see. We got a brainstorm here.
Let's hide some things. You don't get to see everything.
So I saw a City Trader, and it looked like a Grizzlebrand. We're going to put the show and tell on top of our deck. Oh, so he does have the sneak attack and 2 Force of Wills. So Inquisition just get blanked, which is, I believe, something I heard you and Patrick talk about last week where, you know, sometimes you just got to go for the Thoughtseize. You know, it's 2 damage, but when you want to hit a card, you want to hit a card.
Yeah.
So,
what do we see here? We see a Misty.
So what do you think Will does here? You think he goes turn 4 show and tell?
It really depends on the rest of the contents. I mean, we don't know what he hid, and he's doing a nice job of hiding his cards from us.
Well, the question is, do you think he wants to play Ancient Tomb on turn 3 and just get the show and tell, the sneak attack out there, or does he want to play around Oblivion Ring? It does oh.
Okay, so we're gonna see a Ponder here.
Okay, so now I definitely think he's waiting. I mean, there's no way he's gonna. If with Mark has nothing in play and he still has a second Force of Will, it's pretty good for him. He has plenty of time now.
He Force Willed that Dark Confidant, just got that part of the game right over with here. As you see, Will's going to keep his cards with his Ponder. He's going to play an Ancient Tomb. Another thing that's interesting here as we look over Mark's mana base, no Wastelands in his deck, so don't even have to worry about that Ancient Tomb or that Volcanic Island biting the dust. You see a Sensei's Divining Top here. Stoneforge Mystic in Mark's hand. He's going to spin the top. Deathrite Shaman, Batter Skull, and a mystery card.
Yep.
I think that's an Abrupt Decay. No, it's another. I don't want to guess. I don't want to be wrong. But he does rearrange his library.
So he has a Plowshare in case it's Grizzlebrand, but will still be able to draw 7 cards.
Yeah, the bad thing about Swords of Plowshare against Grizzlebrand, they get to draw 7, and the Swords makes it so they gain 7.
Yep. So I would expect to see Will play the second Ancient Tomb and cast that sneak attack with 1 red up.
So Will's going to sack that land clear from the Ponder. He got the 1 card that he wanted. Tap, he's going to draw a card.
Does he have a fatty? Is he going to go for it?
And there's your City of Traders.
Takes 2, goes to 15.
Oh,
looks like a sneak attack.
We are going to be sneak attacking. Sneak attack is here.
We're going to have a Mackerel or a Grizzlebrand. Which one?
Grizzlebrand.
Grizzlebrand. So again, Mark does have a Plowshare to stop himself from taking 7.
You get 1 first activation here, and the reason
see if he has Lotus Petal.
Yeah, the reason you're going to do that is see if he can hit Lotus Petal into Emrakul. We don't know what Will's remaining cards are, but he can activate this Grizzlebrand twice because he has an 8. And you're going to see Lotus Petal here, and we're going to see Emrakul.
So
and we're going to see a concession.
Nah, no point. Yep.
And that's where you see where Sneak Attack is so much better than Show and Tell in this matchup.
Yep.
It just gets the game over with all in 1 turn. Grizzlebrand being more important there, but Emrakul would have been just as good because it just clears out Mark's board.
Yeah. And, you know, it kind of looks so lopsided when you see a fair like that. You know, Mark has cards like Lingering Souls in his hand, and Will can just do these explosive things. But, you know, we talked about before the match, Mark does have cards that can be very annoying for Will to deal with.
Yeah.
And we kind of thought that game 1 would be tough, but, you know, that's why you play 3 games.
We're going to cut back to us really quickly because we are going to give away a year of premium now, and you're not asking the question.
Please.
Because you're not good at that.
I do not think that's a good idea for me to ask any questions.
Taking a look at Will Craddock's deck list, he is playing Sneak and Show, obviously, and he has a card in his sideboard that makes it difficult for people to be able to interact on his turn. Not particularly good in this matchup, good in others. 2-mana artifact, 3 copies of it in his sideboard. If you're able to name that card, tweet us the answer. And when you tweet the answer, make sure that you do the hashtag of SCG Premium. We'll choose a winner from those correct answers, and they'll get a full year of premium.
Here's a hint. The Atlanta Falcons are clearly not very good at part of the words that are in the title.
That's correct. But apparently, based on the Baltimore Ravens score, they are. Harbaugh Bowl, Harbaugh Bowl, yes!
I think he said 3-mana artifact.
I said 2-mana artifact.
2-mana artifact?
Come on. Keep it together here. Is there a 3-mana artifact in his sideboard? There's not even a 3-mana artifact in his sideboard. Come on.
Super Bowl,
No, it's the Harbaugh Bowl. Get it right. Come on. I'm so happy Brady lost.
Couldn't happen to two nicer guys.
I'm so happy Brady lost. Oh,
Yes.
I love it. Moving back to the sideboard really quickly for you guys. We've got Mark on the draw here, and again, he does have another Oblivion Ring that he can board in. 2 copies of Surgical Extraction, which is like a little bit interesting because, you know, he can duress or, you know, he can duress or Inquisition, you know, maybe the sneak attack, maybe the show and tell, and then surgical it. I don't really like that plan very often.
Yep.
But desperate times, desperate measures, that sort of thing. Duress, as I speak of, he has 2 in his sideboard. He also has 2 copies of Nevermore in his sideboard. And that one's a little bit interesting because I think with Nevermore he would probably name Sneak Attack.
Mm-hmm.
He would probably name Sneak Attack to make sure that Will can't cast that, and he's actually like pretty good against Show and Tell from what we've noticed. With additional Oblivion Ring, he'd have 3 Oblivion Rings after sideboard. He'd have 2 Caracases after sideboard. Now the only loophole with that is that if Will does cast Show and Tell, he can put Sneak Attack into play and then activate it. So he does have a little loophole around that interaction.
Yeah, and on Will's side, I think it's pretty similar to the Jund matchup. Spell Pierce isn't really good in this matchup. Not sure he wants Leyline of Sanctity though, because you know you're not dealing with Thoughtseize, you're not dealing with Hymn to Torek like you were against the Jund matchup. I do think you want Echoing Truth because of the Nevermore, just as a random answer to it. I also think you want Blood Moon and Caracas as ways to, again, you can randomly color screw Mark. Probably not because he has a lot of, I think, 5 basics. Yeah. So he has 5 basics, but it does turn off Caracas. So I think maybe just boarding out Spell Pierce for maybe 2 Echoing Truth, 2 Blood Moon, and a Caracas, and maybe taking out maybe 1 Intuition, just because it's pretty bad against Surgical Extraction.
We're going to see Duress here. You see a Show and Tell, an Emrakul, 2 copies of Brainstorm, and you see a Volcanic Island, a Mountain, and a City of Traders. So that hand represents a turn 2 Show and Tell. Wow. That's the card that he has to take.
It's a great hand here, and Mark's not doesn't really have a great hand. He's got a Stoneforge, a Swords, and I believe. Oh wow! So Will decides to cast Ponder instead of Brainstorm.
Yeah, just pondering right away here, shuffling away. Draw his mystery card, see if he can find a Show and Tell. He can cast the turn 2 Emrakul, or sneak in the turn 2 Emrakul there. That's the thing about this deck too, where discard is like pretty good against this deck, but again, because all those cantrips, he has 4 Brainstorm, he has 4 Ponder, and he has a Preordain. The discard isn't, you know, like game over like it is against some combo decks where they have a hard time rebuilding.
And it's also a 2-card combo, so it's not like it's not like you're a Storm deck where you're trying to generate this critical mass of spells. You know, it's 2 cards, and cards like Inquisition don't even do anything against most of the combo pieces. Like if they have a Sneak Attack and Grizzlebrand, there's really, you know, no, you know, Inquisition doesn't do anything against that. So
we're going to see a Stoneforge Mystic here. We'll see what it's going to search up. Is it Batterskull time? Looking at his deck list, he doesn't have a card that can interact with Will in an interesting way, like a sort of Feast and Famine. So you can cast multiple spells and start making Will discard. We did see that last week when we were in San Diego, but he's just going to get Batterskull here and get that clock online. It's just a little slow.
An interesting play from Mark here, because he did draw an Inquisition of Kozilek, and he could have gotten one of the Brainstorms, but I guess he just decided, I need to get some pressure in play, and that Inquisition really won't do anything much. But, you know, interesting. Getting a Brainstorm is always a good thing. We'll see what he does this turn. Oh, well, he drew Caracas here, so
That's a big one.
Probably shuts off the show and tell for now.
Yeah. It shuts off a lot of different things too. It shuts off sneak attack as well, just because he sneaks in the monster. Now it's a little game with Caracas, of course, because if it's an Emrakul, he declares his attack step. This is only with a sneak attack. Declares his attack step with Emrakul, gets Caracas, then puts it back into play if he has initial red mana. So subtle little interaction there, but Caracas is very, very good against the sneak and show deck, as we do see the Inquisition does miss. You see Gristlebrand, you see Emrakul, you see lands. So that means you hit that Brainstorm.
So here we go.
What did he hide? Does he have one of the finer things in life? Double land will tell a lot here if he plays one.
No. Yep. So we have a sack here. Probably activates Stoneforge, get a Batterskull.
Alright, so clock is going to be put online here.
Yeah. And the play that Mark made on turn 2 without not casting Inquisition, you could see here he was able to dodge a bullet. He got a little lucky by drawing Caracas, but works out for him now because he actually managed to get a clock into play and still cast the Inquisition and not die. So he's going to try to close the game out as quickly as he can. Don't think he plays you think he plays a Caracas here just to play around sneak attack?
I think I would want to, just because we know that Will has a double land in play or in his hand, so he could go double land, sneak attack, activate, bash you, and there's. I
think he just he doesn't want to have to worry about dying to sneak attack, so plays the Caracas. Obviously, there's a little surprise value there. If he keeps it in his hand, maybe Will try to go for it with show and tell, but. Again, it's a big risk if he does actually try to sneak attack kill. So,
Lingering Soul is going to put 2 spirits in place. So Mark is assembling a nice clock here, putting Will on about a 2, potentially 3 turn clock. Has 7 damage in play with Will 15, so it'll start to cut off a lot of turns here for Will, as you do see him cast a Brainstorm.
And again, if he did board in the Echo in Truth, that will slow things down quite a bit.
Yeah. I think for Will's sideboard, and we don't know if he boarded thin or not, but I think you might almost have to see Blood Moon just because there are 2 Caracases there.
Yeah, and I think we talked about that. You really just want to shut off Caracas, I think.
Yeah. So very good against your deck. And you do just see him play Misty Rainforest and pass the turn back. Mark draws a Dark Confidant. He also has a Swords of Plowshares in his hand. And then that last card in his hand is an Oblivion Ring.
So he does have an Oblivion Ring too.
So you see him coming across here for 7. Going to put Will down to 8 if he does take all of this. And he does, so Will's going to move down to 8. And with a flashback of Lingering Souls, it presents lethal. Or if he just wants to play Dark Confidant, whichever one he wants to do, and you're going to see Dark Confidant here, but he's representing lethal right now, so Will has to make a move here.
Yeah, but the problem is between Caracas and Oblivion Ring.
And Swords, too.
Yeah.
Because let's say, he puts Gristlebrand into play. This is a situation where Swords and Gristlebrand isn't even that bad.
Yep. Can't actually pay the activation.
Yeah. And let's say, for example, the other thing here, too, is if it's sneak attack, if he plays a double land, sneak attacks, puts Emrakul into play, Mark bounces it with Caracas, we re-put it back into play. We're 27. We do have to sacrifice 6 permanents, so we sacrifice our 4 lands, those 2 Lingering Souls tokens. It's still lethal attack.
Yeah.
Batterskull, Bob, and Stoneforge is 7, so I don't know how Will gets out of this situation. I really don't.
I was thinking maybe Lotus Petal, Caracas, kill the Caracas, sneak attack, activate. But yeah, you're right. Even off of the macro, he can just sacrifice 4 lands and 2 Lingering Souls tokens and attack for 7. So unless he has an Echoing Truth here, which I think he probably would have used already, I don't think he has many outs. Did he have it and he just didn't use it on the attack?
No, that's what it is.
Yeah. So I guess he did have it, just chose not to use it for the attack. So again, now if he plays a Caracas of his own to kill the legendary of the other Caracas, and then plays Lotus Petal, he has a chance. But
there's your City of Traders. He's just passing. Wow.
So just passing.
Okay. He's bought himself another turn. The Confidant reveals something. Sensei's Divining Top.
We attack for 4, put him to 3. So again, this time guarantee.
But actually, the Dark Confidant revealed Mark's flats, and he actually drew Sensei's Divining Top, just for clarification at home. Yeah, no reason to attack with the Mystic, right? Same clock.
Doesn't matter.
Still gonna be 2 turns.
So we're gonna play the top. We're gonna get an activation here too, or yep.
Yeah. He can also clear if he doesn't like what he sees. You see Swamp, Bob, and Bayou. He can clear with the Marsh
Probably
flats.
gonna clear that.
Yep.
Yeah, and as you can see here, it's like again, the raw power definitely is in Will's favor, but Mark just assembled a collection of very annoying cards for Will's deck that Will just is trying to navigate through, but it's very difficult.
He's having a really difficult time.
So now I think he just passes and tries to see what Will does.
Yeah, he can activate that. He can activate that top again, but
I don't think he wants to.
Yeah, I don't think he wants to either.
He wants to activate Stoneforge Mystic and keep Caracas up. I think. Yep,
and that's it.
So that's it.
He did a nice job of basically assembling an impenetrable shield.
Yeah.
Of things to do. Just, a ragtag group of guys, but he can't get through the wall.
Shields up with a bunch of annoying cards and cards like Duress and Inquisition.
That's right. The shield protecting Mark from injustice.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have game 3. How about that? Will Craddock on the play. Will thinking, am I gonna lose in the finals 2 tournaments in a row? Is this actually gonna happen to me?
In a row. Well, he's on the play this time, and turn 1 brainstorm can make all the difference. If he was able to, if he was on the play the last game, he probably wins, because I don't think Mark had the. Yeah, I think he probably wins there, because Mark didn't have the Caracas in his opener, so he could have went turn 2 show and tell.
Well, Mark did lead with a discard spell, yeah.
I'm saying if Will was on the play.
Okay, gotcha.
And he was able to cast brainstorm.
Gotcha.
So
okay,
that's why being on the play is so important.
Gotcha. Yeah, he hides the show and tell, then puts the City Traders in play, and kaboom.
Yep. And again, like Echoing Truth is another way he has to deal with Oblivion Ring. So let's see if being on the play here helps Will finally get that win this weekend.
Yeah, this is a scary thing for Mark here, is that if I'm in Mark's situation, I'm a little scared. I'm on the draw. I know how explosive this deck can be. I mean, this deck can play a turn 1 show and tell. This deck can play a brainstorm to hide and then play a turn 2 show and tell, which we would have seen. It's scary right now.
Yeah, I mean, with only having Duress and Inquisition Kozilek, Will can basically play a land and protect his combo completely, and still go off on turn 2.
Yep. So now he's just playing, he's basically tiptoeing around landmines to me. There aren't a lot of landmines to tiptoe around, but, there's the Oblivion Ring and there's those Caracases. Those are the high impact cards. 5 total cards after sideboard for Mark. He has 3 Oblivion Rings and 2 Caracas after sideboard. Will trying to dance around those. Hopefully Mark doesn't find them. And if you're Mark, I think you have to mulligan for one of those cards. It's aggressive.
Yeah.
Just because they shut off show and tell, and they're also pretty darn good against sneak attack.
Yeah, and as we saw there, like the sneak attack is just, it's a lot slower of a way for Will to win. He really just wants to go show and tell on turn 2 or turn 3. Again, Mark's probably going to be aggressive with his mulligan. He can't keep hands like Deathrite Shaman, Stoneforge Mystic, Dark Confidant in lands, or a Plowshare or something. He needs some sort of disruption. He needs one of those bullets like Caracas or Oblivion Ring. So interesting to see what their mulliganing strategy is going to be here.
And those are hands, the hands you mentioned, that's a perfectly reasonable hand in a lot of matchups.
Yeah.
But Deathrite Bob, another card and some lands, that's a good hand in a lot of matchups.
It's just not great when your opponent can kill you on turn 1, or at least get a giant creature into play on turn 1.
Yeah.
So let's see.
By our math, currently Will this weekend is 19-1-2. Is that good?
Is that good?
And if so, why?
Well, is it going to be 21-2 or is it going to be 19-2-2? We're about to find out here. So looks like Mark is mulliganing. I wonder if it's just no land, or is he being aggressive like we discussed?
Yeah. Yeah, if I'm in Mark's situation again, I'm aggressively mulliganing for one of those 5 cards. I know it's It's unorthodox, but I think that might be what it takes to win this tournament.
I mean, we have seen someone mulligan to 3 in the feature match area and still win. So
yeah,
hey,
if that's what it takes.
That's what it takes. That's what it takes.
All right, Mark, gonna fan out 6 of them here. Take a look.
Is this a keeper?
He is happy we are underway.
All
Game
right.
3 of the finals.
Misty Rainforest, Lotus Petal. Protection from Inquisition and Kozilek. Which it does look like Mark does have, along with a bunch of other lands.
We got a Brainstorm too.
Wow, so pretty good here if he has the Show and Tell and Fatty.
If I was scared before, I'm terrified now.
Yeah, and I think Will just goes for it if he has it. I don't think he's gonna mess around. I think he's upset that he lost the last game, and he just wants to try to close this out, especially after Mark Mulligan.
Yeah.
If Mark can blank here with the Inquisition, then I think Will's probably going to go for it. Unless he can go, like, turn 2 sneak attack.
Yep.
You know.
There's your Brainstorm. 2 and 3. Gonna hide some cards. Bob and weave this Inquisition.
Yeah, like, if Will goes Ancient Tomb or City of Traders sneak attack on turn 2, I don't think Mark has an answer to that, right? I mean, Oblivion Ring is his only answer, and he doesn't have enough mana on turn 2, so he's basically has to play a Caracas as defense. But at that point, Will can untap, play a second mountain, and then if he has a Grizzlebrand, he's going to be able to draw at least 14 cards.
Oh, that's all?
That's all.
Just 14. Tough
just
life.
14.
You don't have to go down to 5 to do that. Yeah. Oh, boy.
So let's see, what is Will going to do here? Wow, Inquisition is really bad sometimes in this matchup.
Yeah, it really is.
Really wish it was the Thoughtseize.
Just when you look at your opponent's, the thing about that card is if you look at your opponent, you can't take something.
Yeah,
it's just not okay for me.
It's just embarrassing, especially when you mulligan to 6.
And so now we see.
So he has exactly what we were talking about. So not only is he going to play a sneak attack on turn 2, but he has Ponder as backup after Inquisition takes Lotus Petal, which should take.
Yeah, which I think is almost certainly going to take.
You don't want to actually let him put the American Grizzlebrand into play on turn 2. So he will have a turn 2 sneak attack and
surgical.
So
now,
what is he targeting? The Brainstorm, the Lotus Petal.
Now we thought we might see this, and this is interesting too because it
shuffles up the grid.
It shuffles up the deck for the Brainstorm.
But again, doesn't matter though because Will has everything he needs in his hand.
Yeah. Now, do you think Will was playing around that? Because there's an argument for how he, rearranges his Brainstorm or what have you. It is Inquisition and it's not Thoughtseize, and this is actually huge that it's not Thoughtseize, right?
Yeah.
Because he would have hit like that sneak attack, and then it would have gotten shuffled away because of surgical.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
So, yeah, the fact that it's not Thoughtseize is just killing Mark right here, especially because the top card of Will's deck was a Show and Tell.
Yeah.
So he had the nut perfect basically. Yeah. Decided not to go turn 1 Show and Tell though, playing around Caracas and Oblivion Ring. So
well, he may have brainstormed in that second Lotus Petal.
That's true. Yeah. No, but he had a City of Traders. So either way, the Brainstorm could have changed everything. But
things, yeah.
Be interesting to know whether or not he just said, you know what, I have Sneak Attack, I can Show and Tell. I'm just going to play it safe and to go turn 2 Show and Tell. You don't really have an answer to it.
Yeah. Sneak Attack being the more important of the cards.
Yeah,
anyway.
and he might have changed his play had he known Mark had Thoughtseize. But knowing Mark doesn't have Thoughtseizes, he has 2 Duresses, but Brainstorm can hide. Yeah, and again, even if that card's Duress, if it's one of the 2 Duresses, it's huge.
Moving in.
So,
Sneak Attack.
There we go.
I'm done.
Does Mark have the Caracas? That at least.
Inquisition, Plains.
He has a
top.
Alright.
He knows he's staring. He knows that he's staring a Grizzlebrand in the face next turn.
I think this is just crack the top, hope there's a plow on top of my deck.
Yeah.
Or no, he's
just gonna take a look. All right, pants are down. Nevermore.
All right, deep breath. How many cards is Will gonna draw? And will there be a macro?
He needs a red source and he needs an Emrakul to win the tournament.
He has Grizzlebrand. So.
Yeah, he has Grizzlebrand, so he's gonna draw 14.
He's gonna draw.
There's your red source.
There's your red source.
14 looks.
Oh.
And that City of Traders is going to die, so let's just make sure that
let's just show
happens.
City of Traders dies. So Will's actually going to get what? Will's going to get 21 looks because he still gets the attack with the Grizzlebrand. So eventually, hopefully, he gets a Grizzlebrand, a Mackerel into his hand.
You know, so, I mean, he wants to kill him right now. Obviously, he just wants to get it over with.
Well, yes, obviously, he would prefer to kill him.
7.
Right now. Let's see it. Do we get there?
Where's Johnny?
Oh,
there it is.
There it is.
Spaghetti and
Good
Grizzlebrand.
game. Grizzlebrand and Mackerel. Wonder Twins coming in.
First and second for Will Craddock this weekend. Winner, winner, chicken dinner, sneak and show. Wins.
I actually respect the second and first more than the double win because, you know, you lose in the finals. That means you lost this morning.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So you woke up really early, you lose, and then you still have. I would have just gone home and watched football. I'm like, forget this.
Yeah, sure.
But he battled through an entire day and won a trophy finally. So you got to respect
This
that.
is an impressive weekend.
Impressive
this really
weekend,
is an
yeah.
impressive weekend. To just the loss in the finals can be discouraging.
Well, that's the thing. It's like Jerry Thompson winning 2 opens. That's nothing because when you win, you're on a high. So you want to keep winning.
I can't be beat, and I won't be beat.
He lost. He was a loser this morning. As recently as this morning, he was a loser. And he still decided to, like, you know what? I'm going to sleeve up my legacy deck, despite the fact that I probably woke up at 7 in the morning.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to wake up, I'm going to go here, I'm going to play legacy, and I'm going to battle through, go undefeated, and make it all the way to the finals, and finally get a trophy.
Yeah, you can't imagine that he got much sleep. I mean, he got out of here yesterday when you and I got out of here, for the most part. So he gets out of here the same time we do. You know, we go back. We fell asleep around 1 o'clock this morning. Had to get up at around 7 o'clock this morning. So we got about 6 hours sleep, just like him.
We got the same amount of sleep as he did, except we got a break in the morning to get breakfast. Yeah. I'm still exhausted. I didn't want to do anything.
I'm tired. I'm a little bit loopy.
You took a nap under the table.
It was
this
great.
guy, he battled through the entire day, and not an easy format too, not an easy deck too. A lot of decisions, but he did a great job.
Yeah, his play was impressive. It was very tight. He knew what he was trying to accomplish. You know, again,